for your time. We kick off a Tuesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show with news that Students for Justice in Palestine are calling for a mass walkout on every college campus today at noon. They're very upset about the arrest of an Islamic extremist in New York City who has led, I would say, student protests at Columbia and its sister campus, Barnard College. He's been seized and is in the process of being deported. I think he's in a jail in Louisiana right now. And the Democrats and the terrorist supporters, but I repeat myself, are very upset about this. So we'll keep you apprised of that. Maybe we'll have mass walkouts at Ohio State. We will tell you the latest efforts in the Department of Government Efficiency and how to cut spending. And we will have seems like we go through this, every 3 months or so, a threatened government shutdown. The last couple of years, it was always the Republicans who were fighting the spending the Democrats wanted to do. Now it is the Democrats who are fighting the lack of spending that Republicans want to do. So we may have a government shutdown coming up, and it's kind of curious that Democrats would be forcing us toward a government shutdown when I thought they were really upset about government workers losing their jobs. We'll get to all that, but first let's start right here in Columbus. Now, it's been a while, quite a while actually, since I engaged in something that I used to routinely engage in, called pretending. When I was a kid, you use your imagination, you go to your friend's house, pretend you were, I don't know, it's probably racist now, but back then it was pretend you were cowboys and Indians. Maybe you were Batman, maybe you were Superman. You would pretend. I outgrew that, but apparently some people have not, because Jordan Laird tells us today in the Columbus Dispatch that there will quite likely be a ballot measure in November where you, if you live in the city of Columbus, can vote on what advocates for this measure are calling a reimagining of public safety. Reimagining is a nice new way of saying pretending. A collection of grassroots groups. That just means a bunch of people. They are not organized. They want to use therapists or crisis intervention specialists, not police, to respond to mental health crises and other nonviolent incidents in Columbus. Now, let me just say right up front, I don't have any real problem with this in concept, but in practicality, it won't work. Let me tell you why. Because sometimes you get the full understanding of a mental health crisis up front. For instance, you have a crazy person waving a gun around, wielding a knife, a spear, a machete, some other weapon, a hammer. Then you know, this person is unhinged and unsafe. But sometimes, in fact, quite a few times, a person progresses to the point where they become so agitated, so outside of the bounds of normal behavior, that they escalate to a point where they become more dangerous because they go to the drawer and they grab a knife, or they go to their nightstand and grab a gun. And I don't know how they're going to know in advance. Maybe they have special powers. I mean, if they can reimagine public safety, maybe they can reimagine this person from murderous and dangerous to harmless and docile. The Columbus Safety Collective campaign aims to put a city charter amendment before voters on the November 4th general election ballot. The initiative is called the Community Crisis Response Amendment. Now, they have to get this certified by 25,000 valid signatures of voters. And then, of course, our superstar attorney for the city, Zach Klein, will have to determine whether the proposed amendment complies with city requirements. I'm sure that it will, because they already have some of this in place. And then you'll get a chance to vote on it if they can do all that by July the 7th. The Safety Collective, the Dispatch reports, formed in 2020. Isn't that a surprise that it formed in 2020? Wouldn't have formed in 2020 in the aftermath of, say, I don't know, George Floyd's death in Minneapolis? Just a wild guess on my part. To advocate for alternative emergency responses other than police. Now, they've gotten some of what they wanted, but because they are decidedly made up of Democrats, they want to go further. Ah, really? Democrat wants to go further? A Democrat not satisfied with measured gains, always pushing the agenda, never holding a victory party? Yes, I know. It's very hard to believe, isn't it? The campaign is pushing for more non-police professionals without officer escorts to respond to situations that do not involve imminent danger. Well, let me go back to a famous case that we probably all remember. It was early on in my time here at 98.9 The Answer. A young woman by the name of Ma'Khia Bryant was a foster child. She was unruly, out of control, screaming, yelling, acting up, and Columbus police were called to the scene. And the Columbus police officer drove up, and a rookie officer, he'd been on the force just a few months, gets out of his cruiser, and all of a sudden, what he was told on his two-way about the scene became decidedly different when he saw Ma'Khia Bryant with a knife in her hand running toward a girl who she had some kind of a disagreement with. And just about the time Ma'Khia Bryant drew the knife back and was ready to thrust it forward into this girl, this rookie officer reacted expertly to his training and very unfortunately shot Ma'Khia Bryant. Unfortunate because it was inevitable that he had to do it, but unfortunate that she died. Nobody wanted to see her die. The officer didn't want to see her die. But she died because that's what happens. That they hadn't called police. Hi, I have a foster child here. She's very upset. She's screaming and yelling. Does she have a weapon? No. What's she mad about? Well, she's mad that she has to clean the house, or she's mad she has to, I don't know, take out the garbage. She's just mad. She's mad because she's a foster child and her mother did a horrible job of raising her. Maybe she came from a background of drugs or abuse or something. Who knows? She's in the foster system. Something went awry. So the Safety Collective in this situation would like to send out a counselor to calm the situation. And we'd all love to calm the situation, wouldn't we? I mean, sure, of course. But sometimes, no matter how much education you have, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter how many letters beside your name or your academic credentials, you can't predict what's going to happen in a situation like that. And somebody, in that case, if the police officer hadn't been there and hadn't reacted perfectly to his training, somebody would have been dead. It might not have been Ma'Khia Bryant, or somebody would have been maimed by the knife that she was wielding. This is being pushed by a person. I don't feel the need to give you her name because she's had a tragedy in her life, and I don't want to hold her up to ridicule because I feel bad for her that she had a tragedy in her life. It's a woman who had a brother who died in January of 2017 after Columbus police responded to the brother ingesting cocaine, and he started acting erratically. He died from that cocaine incident. And she alleges that he wouldn't have died if police officers hadn't tried to use excessive force to calm him down. Well, people who are under the influence of drugs often do violent things. They threaten other people, and you have to physically restrain them because you can't just let them wail on someone. They allege this in court, that the police used excessive force, but they lost that case, and they also lost on appeal at the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, if there's anything that I think we know from 2020 and the immediate aftermath of 2020 is that in these kinds of situations, courts had a propensity to rule against the police. And so if in this instance, the police were deemed to have done nothing wrong in two different courts, both in the lower court and on appeal. I understand this person has a hard time letting go of her grief, and I understand she wants to prevent this from happening to other people. But I'm just saying that if you don't send cops to violent, explosive situations, like with Micaiah Bryant or like with this situation that we just had, eventually, inevitably, you are going to get one of the well-meaning counselors, sociologists, psychologists, social workers, whoever, you're going to get them killed. You just are. And far better off to have a police officer there and not need them, but to not have a police officer there and need them desperately.
Partly sunny, a warm breeze for the afternoon. Fire threat with the gusty wind and low humidity, high 67. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 38. Clouds and sun. Breezy, mild day tomorrow, the high at 65. For tomorrow night, it'll be partly cloudy, low 45. And then partly sunny Thursday, the high at 70. For Friday, clouds and some sun. It'll be a warm afternoon. High on Friday at 74. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Come see Stage Right Theatrics' new program celebrating American master playwrights before they were gods. You'll see two early one-act plays by Eugene O'Neill, March 21st and 22nd at 7 p.m. and March 23rd at 1 p.m. at the Abbey Theatre of Dublin. Bring a food donation for the Dublin Food Pantry, and tickets are half price. Call 614-562-9105 or visit stagert.org for tickets. Stage Right Theatrics, where disagreement does not equal hate. I'm CPA Brad Hennebert with Premier Tax CPAs, and the true value of using a CPA is getting guidance throughout the year, not just at tax time. During the year, we can actively advise you on your financial and tax planning and other major business decisions, just like an outside CFO. Too often, when you see your accountant only at tax time, we're really only keeping score of what you did last year. We'll prepare a comprehensive tax plan to maximize your deductions and minimize the tax you pay, and present you with money-saving options you may not have ever considered. We'll update your financial position each quarter, so there are no nasty surprises at tax time. At Premier Tax CPAs, we like to have consultations with our clients throughout the year because important financial information is only useful if it's timely. At Premier Tax CPAs, we're a firm that can work with you and your business throughout the year to help you make decisions before it's too late. Give us a call at Premier Tax CPAs at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Coverage varies by plan. See contract and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-289-6016. That's 800-289-6016. 800-289-6016.
Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. The truth is, the benefits of opioids are limited. Opioids only mask the pain. Opioids also come with serious side effects, ranging from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. As many as 25% of people who are prescribed opioids struggle with addiction. And those who are addicted to opioids are 40 times more likely to move on to heroin. No one wants to live in pain, but no one should put their health at risk to be pain-free. There is another choice: physical therapy. Physical therapists treat pain through movement and exercise, no warning labels required. And you get to be an active participant in your care. Choose to treat your pain safely. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist near you. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Hey, maybe you won't need physical therapy if you just fix your problem with my friends at QC Kinetics. You've been told you have bone-on-bone arthritis pain. You feel it. It's real. But it doesn't have to be enduring, because at QC Kinetics, their clinics, Dublin, Canal, Winchester, and I believe they're building another. Just go to QC Kinetics and check out your free, no obligation consultation offer. Yes, you can do it by calling 380-208-4544. They'll tell you which clinic is closest to where you live, and they'll tell you a little bit about advanced biologic therapy, which is a fancy medical procedure, very scientifically based, that allows your blood to address the pain in your body in like greater quantities, because they've withdrawn your blood, separated out the healing agents, and then re-injected it so you can get relief. Again, the number is 380-208-4544, 380-208-4544. And the magic place that can make this happen, it's scientific and it works. QC Kinetics. So we had a shooting, 3 people overnight. Actually in the middle of the night, 4:34 a.m. along a residential street, 400 Clarendon Avenue near Sullivan Avenue. Doesn't say anything about the shooter being arrested, doesn't say anything about any of the victims being the shooter. One person serious, another stable, a third condition not known. They were transported to one to OSU, one to Grant. So we'll see if Columbus's murder total climbs ever higher in regard to that. That's the one thing about, now we got daylight savings time. We got more daylight. More daylight means summer's around the corner. Summer comes, the murder rate goes up. It's inevitable. More people are out, the more mayhem ensues, because the Democratic administration of this city has done almost nothing to really seriously impact the crime rate in this town. Franklin County Common Police Court, Franklin County Juvenile Court, both been major letdowns in terms of punishing criminals, particularly in juvenile court at early ages. And then even after they ascend to the big boy court, Franklin County Common Police, we let them out. It's almost like we give them a freebie. You can beat up one girl, but, don't do it again. I'm very disappointed in you. We have judges who take that tack. And then somebody ends up dead, like Brooke DeVinny, who was pregnant at the time. She was beaten to death by her boyfriend, who had beaten another girl in Northeast Ohio, but he was let out because the judge had faith that he was somebody who society needed to have among us, which was a very bad mistake. And no one knows that more than Brooke DeVinny or her unborn child, who she murdered. Now, a Columbus City school teacher is facing arrest after he was detained yesterday in a prostitution sting in Fairfield County. Fairfield County Sheriff's Office pulling this off. The teacher and 11 others were arrested, part of the operation, for engaging in sexual activity for hire. This person, I believe, taught, doesn't give the school name where he taught, but he has been removed from the classroom, and it does note that his illicit activity did not involve any young people. Thank goodness for that. I told you at the top of the show that we are, I feel like the boy who cried wolf when we talk about a government shutdown. I mean, it's really, it almost never happens. And when it does happen, do you notice any real appreciable impact on your life if the government shuts down? Because it typically shuts down for only like a day or two. Okay, so you can't go to Yellowstone. You can't go to a national park. I feel bad for the people in the military who depend upon pay, but they get back pay. But here's Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. And when the Democrats were in control, it was the Republicans who were trying to curb spending. And now that the Republicans are in control and they're trying to curb spending, Democrats still want to spend. And so Mike Johnson will not get a single Democratic vote. And the question is, will he get enough Republican votes to pass this continuing resolution to keep on spending?
On this simple bill, they are going to try to shut the government down. Every House Democrat will participate in this. It looks like that would be a shame if it's true. I hope some of them will have a moment of clarity themselves and do the right thing, but it looks like they're going to try to shut down the government. It's a striking new posture for Democrats who have always said they've just been apoplectic about the prospect of government shutdowns. I put a video out about an hour ago on social media. I encourage you to go see that. This is them in their own words. You don't need to trust us on this. But Catherine Clark, here's one little zinger from her, quote, "Not only is it irresponsible and purposefully misleading, but it's also a dangerous precedent to be threatening a shutdown," unquote. Now remember, this is in last year, years past. Pramila Jayapal, quote, the tragedy here is all the civilian employees. It's the employees who are going to suffer, unquote. AOC, quote, it is not normal to hold 100,000 workers' paychecks hostage. It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want, unquote. I don't think I've ever agreed with her before. She's exactly right. Jerry Nadler said, quote, shutdown is really an extremist policy designed to appeal to an extremist base and hold the whole country hostage. Yeah, we agree. So they and all their colleagues need to do the right thing. Democrats have been insisting they're fighting for federal workers. You're about to see, again, on vivid display, very clear the contrast. You will see one team that is working to fund the government and make sure we do the responsible thing. And you're going to see another posing the CR because they've now exposed the truth. They're not for federal workers. They're not for anyone. All the people they've said in the past that are going to be harmed would be by their votes.
Yeah, I'm confused. I'm very confused by this because aren't the Democrats upset about Doge cutting costs? Because Doge cutting costs knocks people in the federal workforce out of a job? I think I got that right. I think I've been following this for the last couple of weeks while Elon Musk has been outlining this much billion here, this much billion here. They're very upset that Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, has taken over USAID. And Marco Rubio, what was it yesterday? Marco Rubio said they canceled 83% of the contracts. And oh, man, this would be like the end of the world. Like people around the country are going to be starving. And so many people at the USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development, they do such important work and we can't live without them. Well, when it comes to funding the government, if it's not funded and the whole operation shuts down, doesn't that kick more people off the federal payroll? I think so. I think so. Now, speaking of being kicked off the payroll, right here at home in Ohio, we are not doing well in the unemployment numbers. I can't wait to get Matt Mayer's take on this Thursday when he joins us at 12:05. Matt with opportunityohio.org. Ohio has significantly fewer job gains in 2024 than previously indicated. Aha, maybe it's not Mike DeWine to blame. Maybe it's Joe Biden's always ratcheting down when corrected unemployment numbers or employment numbers. And there's no shock yesterday. My buddy Jay said to me, hey, I hear Ohio's 36th in the country. That's the story I ended the show with yesterday, that we ranked 36th across a whole bunch of metrics according to the U.S. News and World Report. Turns out that Ohio is lagging behind the country in employment too. Wait a minute, don't we have intel? Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of, sort of do, but they're not employing anybody and they're not churning out any chips, and they won't be until the 2030s. January unemployment rate in Ohio, 4.6%, was up 1/10 of a percentage point from December, well above the national rate of 4%. Ohio's rate of unemployment has either risen or remained unchanged in 11 of the past 12 months. That's not good. It has climbed more than a full percentage point since state leaders bragged about hitting historical lows for 3 consecutive months in May of 2023. Don't brag. Pride's a bad thing. It always comes back to bite you. In January, we lost 2,800 private sector jobs. Yeah, if you're looking for a job, you know that's the truth. It's hard to find one.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. The House expected to vote today on a Republican-backed stopgap funding bill to avert a partial government shutdown at week's end. Will keep federal agencies funded through September, the close of the current federal fiscal year. Democrats oppose the bill. President Trump's advice to Republicans: stand united. The president said on Canadian aluminum and steel as Canada hits the U.S. with retaliatory tariffs. Talks focusing on ending the Russia-Ukraine war got underway today in Saudi Arabia. Secretary of State Rubio leading the U.S. delegation in discussions with Ukrainian officials. Number of job openings posted by American employers rose 7.7 million in January, roughly 200,000 more than the month before. And watching Wall Street, the Dow down 371 points, NASDAQ up 43. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. myphdweight.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer. Anywhere you go, The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
If you own a timeshare, tell business public service announcement from Shutdown, Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or message to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of the timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options.
Call for your free info kit. 8484 800-839-8484 800-839-8484.
Planning for retirement is no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2 to Retire Ready Ohio with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. The firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
Weekday afternoons from 5 to 6. Tune into The Windsor Report with Jack Windsor, Central Ohio's top drive time show on politics, policies, and personalities. On your station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM, The Answer.
I sure hope you have it on your calendar by now, Friday, April the 25th. You want to be free and clear that night. Wouldn't you want to go out to dinner? Yeah, sure, you could. Wouldn't you like to have your mind engaged with great conservative talk? Wouldn't you like to meet a real, genuine celebrity, a brush with greatness? You can check the boxes on all three. If you join us at the Der Dutchman restaurant in Plain City, that checks the food box because you'll get a full Der Dutchman buffet with the price of your ticket. Good conservative talk, stimulating to the mind? Yes, because on stage will be myself and Jack Windsor. Wait, there's more. And Larry Elder, the sage of South Central LA. There's your brush with greatness. There's your great conservative talk. Can't wait to meet Larry. Can't wait to engage in him with conversation. Go to 989theanswer.com. Buy your ticket. You get a full Der Dutchman buffet, and then you get to sit and listen to us commiserate about President Trump, conservatism, and the crazy Democrats. It'll be a great night. Friday, April 25th, Der Dutchman Restaurant, Plain City. Tickets at 989theanswer.com. Wow, there was a Joyce Beatty sighting in Columbus. This does not happen very often. Joyce Beatty was in Columbus on Friday at a reading event for local elementary schoolers. Now, for those of you who go, who's Joyce Beatty? Well, that would pretty much prove my point that she's not here very often. She represents most of the Columbus metro area in the U.S. House of Representatives. Well, represents a sort of a general term. She's the elected this is more precise way. She's the elected representative for much of Central Ohio. She's not really representing you because a lot of things aren't getting better here. Is crime getting better? in the Hilltop, Near East Side, Linden? No. Is it are the poverty numbers going down? No, they're not. Is the education improving? No, it's not. But Joyce was there at the Woodcrest Elementary School as part of Read Across America Week, where she read stories aloud to students and celebrated learning. Well, that must have been a pretty morose event if they're celebrating learning at a Columbus City school, because the reading proficiency and math proficiency rates are deplorably low and far below national average. But Joyce Beatty, the queen of the Congressional Black Caucus, came down off her throne afterward to speak to NBC4, where she said she loves seeing the excitement among students. And of course, she advocated for the Department of Education and against the closing of the Department of Education, because of course, the Department of Education has done a phenomenal job ever since Jimmy Carter created it. The problem is it has not done a phenomenal job educating students. It has done a phenomenal job enriching teachers. And people like Joyce Beatty, who the teachers' unions get money from their teachers, and then they give money to politicians like Joyce Beatty, who will vote for things that make the department, make the teachers' unions further enriched. It's a nice little cabal that they have going on. Here's Joyce Beatty's quote. I think it is important to say to little children, and especially little black children, that we not let this administration illegally do away with the Department of Education. We will not let him cut veterans programs. He's not trying to. And housing programs. And so we wanted to stand in solidarity. Well, she's big on the standing in solidarity. She was one of the crazy Democrats who stood with Texas Democrat Al Green singing "We Shall Overcome" in the House chamber when Al Green was censured for hectoring President Donald Trump during his joint address to Congress last week. 10 Democrats voted to censure Al Green. Joyce Beatty was not one of them. She says federal workers, who I just said Joyce Beatty and other Democrats are gleefully going to put out of work immediately if they don't join with Republicans to pass the continuing resolution to fund the government. Joyce Beatty says the phones are ringing off the hook. People are scared. People want to know if they're going to get paid. They want to know what happens to them next. When you look at these offices and the individuals that are working in these offices, they are the lifeline to many of these programs. Great, then vote for the CR and they'll keep getting paid, Joyce. Or do what the Democratic Party tells you to do and try to play both ends against the middle. Now, there's been a lot of talk as we near the time of year where school districts put levies on the ballot about school funding in Ohio. Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, Matt Huffman, the head of the Ohio House of Representatives, have both said that they would like to see some cuts in the guaranteed minimum funding that school districts receive from the state of Ohio. School districts, public school districts, are primarily funded by local taxes, okay? Either property taxes, which is typically the lion's share of the funding for a public school, and an additional, lately, last 20 years-ish or so, you've seen income tax initiatives passed, and that contributes a portion of the local funding to schools. They also get the second biggest portion, aside from income and property taxes, of the residents in the district or the people who work in the district. You get state funding. And then there's a teeny sliver relative to the other two of federal funding. It's still a big part. I mean, still a significant part. They wouldn't want to, no public school would want to do without the federal funding. That's why the Trump administration, when they issue an executive order saying you can't force DEI in schools, you can't force girls to allow boys in their bathrooms. That's why, a lot of public schools are upset, because they, particularly in the inner city, particularly in the woke parts of the city, like Westerville and Olentangy and Worthington and Upper Arlington, Hilliard, they want the LGBTQ agenda to be upheld and to be bowed down in front of. The Trump administration is not going to allow that. And the commitment to the LGBTQI plus two-spirit animal, parenthesis, ampersand, whatever else they add to it, is such that they're all about it until they're threatened with the loss of $4 to $5 million in federal funding. Then they're not so much all about it. But the people in the state of Ohio in public school districts like Columbus are very upset. The superintendent of Columbus City Schools, Angela Chapman, is very upset about the cutback in state funding to Columbus City Schools. She says if the state isn't providing their share of funding, then our local community taxpayers have to pay the difference. So that means that we'll be coming back to our community and back to the voters for another ballot potentially. What? They just passed a $100 million issue. $100 million. So I thought it would be interesting to call up and see, like, who's doing a good job spending their money in the public school realm and who's not doing a good job. Or, I mean, at least my presumption is that schools that spend far less to educate their students, when you average out all the money they get and divide it by the number of students to get the per pupil education cost, if those schools are scoring very high on standardized testing, high in math proficiency, high in reading proficiency, and then you have another district like, let's say, let me see if I can think of one. Oh, right, Columbus, that spends inordinately more per pupil, and the reading and math scores are below a dumpster with a grease fire inside of it, then that would tell me that the one district is underperforming and the one district is meeting expectations or perhaps even overperforming. So I found a handy dandy map, and you can find it too, on the Ohio Auditor of State, Keith Faber's website. And he makes it very easy for you to find the overperforming districts because he highlights them in green. Now, who do we have here locally? Johnstown, Monroe. They spend $9,860 per student. And they rank 59th best in the state of Ohio in terms of proficiency scores. There's like 600 schools in the state of Ohio. We get Southwestern Licking. They spend $9,500 and they're 49th. Gahanna Jefferson. They spend $8,516 and they rank 21st. Hamilton Local spend $9,296 and they're 60th. And Jonathan Alder, they spend $10,202 and they rank 44th. Now, Columbus spends $16,194 per student and they rank 599th. And Angela Chapman says they need more money. They just got more money and they're not performing. Now let's go up here. See if we can find Cleveland City Schools. Let's see how they're doing. I'm pretty sure I know where. Here we are, Cleveland Municipal. Oh, look at this. They spend $19,145 per student and they rank 605th. Now, there's been a lot of talk. We'll get into it next. Our two strongest candidates for the Republican governorship of the state of Ohio after Mike DeWine's term mercifully ends in 2026, Vivek Ramaswamy and Dave Yost. Vivek Ramaswamy has proposed merit pay for teachers. We'll attack whether that's reasonable or doable.
Afternoon, elevated fire threat with the gusty wind and low humidity, high 67. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 38. Clouds and sun. Breezy mild day tomorrow, the high at 65. For tomorrow night, it'll be partly cloudy, low 45. And then partly sunny Thursday, the high at 70. For Friday, clouds and some sun. It'll be a warm afternoon. High on Friday at 74. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
ProView Remodeling, Ohio's #1 choice in sunroofs, windows, doors, decks, siding, patios, porches, basements, and bathroom remodels. Call ProView Remodeling today and get 25% off or 60 months, 0 interest. That's right, 60 months, 0 interest. Call or text 7 days a week, 614-756-3140. You win with ProView Remodeling, 614-756-3140. Check us out at ProViewRemodeling.com.
Mariota here, inviting you to join me on the Patriot Alaska Cruise this summer. A once-in-a-lifetime trip where patriotism and luxury meet. Picture this, you cruising through Alaska's stunning wilderness on a first-class luxury ship, surrounded by breathtaking glaciers and majestic mountains. Joining us will be Mike Gallagher, Jennifer Horn, and Joe Piscopo. But that's just the beginning. We sail August 16th to the 23rd through the last frontier. On board, you'll enjoy thought-provoking talks, exclusive events, and unforgettable memories with fellow patriots who share your conservative values. Text the word travel to 94878 to reserve your cabin today. This is more than just a cruise. It's a chance to engage with some of the most respected voices in conservative America while exploring one of the most beautiful places on earth. Space is limited, so do not wait to book your cabin. Text travel to 94878. That's travel to 94878. I'll see you on board where patriotism, adventure, and luxury come together.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
This is Josh Pick with Aptus Wealth Management. The U.S. and the world have certainly changed a lot in the last few years. We're facing money dangers that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. You're not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. And don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
Hi, my name is Justin Petrichor. I'm Julian Petrichor. We run Alpha Waste Service. We offer front-load dumpsters as well as roll-off dumpsters for local residents and businesses. Our prices are set at flat fixed rates. The price we give is the price you'll pay. We don't force our customers into contracts unless they want one. We keep our customers by providing quality service at affordable prices. If you need a front load or roll-off dumpster, please visit alphawasteservice.com.
Again, that's alphawasteservice.com.
Got a call just this morning from someone with a business in Marysville. They want me to come out and look at their business to help them with their new flooring project. I'm looking forward to that. I will see them on Thursday. I have another appointment on Wednesday. I've got room for you on my schedule as well. If you would like new carpet or new luxury vinyl plank flooring, you have a commercial business, you need a commercial product, I can take care of that too. Go to brucehooley.com and click flooring. I would love to help you. We have our own installers. They do a tremendous job. We get tons of compliments about them because they are fantastic, hardworking guys who really take pride in their work. And I take pride in the fact that we can save you money and get you your product faster because our trucks don't have to wait until they are completely full. That's the benefit of being an independent business. Small business is the backbone of America. I'm a small business on the side. In addition to this, would love to have you and I interact about a flooring project to meet your needs. Go to brucehooley.com and click flooring, brucehooley.com and click flooring. The rare, and I do mean rare, visit by U.S. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty to Columbus to read to school kids prompted me to take a look at how our schools are performing, given the fact that we are now coming up on election season. There will be initiatives on the ballot in May. There will be initiatives on the ballot in November. There might even be a school district that, if it doesn't pass a levy in May, reapproaches its voters in November. State of Ohio is adjusting its funding of schools. And this, of course, will be a topic that our prospective governors will be asked about when Mike DeWine's second term ends. Right now, the top Republicans, you have to think that the Republican primary winner would be the eventual governor of the state of Ohio, since all the elected offices in the state of Ohio at the state level are Republicans right now. You would have to think that would be a big deal for Vivek Ramaswamy and Dave Yost to discuss. And we will indeed get to their perspective on this. Ramaswamy has proposed merit pay for teachers. But first, let me add a couple other numbers. I told you I got this right off Ohio Auditor of State Keith Faber's website. You can go to ohioauditor.gov/performance, and you will find the Ohio Department of Education dashboard, where Keith Faber highlights in green what he says are the most efficient spending districts in the state of Ohio. It looks to me like there's maybe 25 or 30 of them. There's over 600 school districts in the state of Ohio. Columbus City Schools, they spend $16,000 per pupil. The most efficient ones spend around $10,000 per pupil. Columbus ranks 599th among all districts. But like, let's say Olentangy schools, right? The perception is Olentangy schools are really good, and they're not one of the most efficient. But Olentangy, they spend $11,600 per pupil, and they rank 101st. Another affluent district you would have to think is Dublin. They spend $13,000 per pupil. They rank 373. Your Columbus, your Dayton, your Cincinnati, they spend more and they lag far behind. Now, of course, I know there are other factors, not just the money that they spend, which is fallacy whenever they have a ballot issue on the ballot. Columbus and Angela Chapman says, hey, we might have to go back on the ballot. You just got a $100 million levy passed. You got to go back on the ballot? That's really bad planning by your board. But they want to go back on the ballot and ask for more money. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy has floated the idea of paying teachers based upon merit. Okay, I know this is going to be a really popular idea. Okay, everybody's going to love this. Yeah, we should pay teachers based upon how their students perform. Okay, while I don't disagree with it in principle, I do not see how this can possibly work, because teachers sign a collective contract with their district, okay? So they are all unionized. They're all represented by their union. And when you have a contract, you're not going to be able to go back in until that contract ends and revamp the terms of the contract. And I just think that you are asking for widespread strikes throughout the state of Ohio if you're going to try to introduce merit pay for teachers. Here's Vivek Ramaswamy floating that idea on his appearance with Laura Ingraham last night on Fox.
It's a radical idea. I've taken a lot of heat for it as I'm running for governor here in Ohio. Pay for performance in our schools. Here's why it matters. In China, kids are 4 grades ahead of where they are here. In Singapore, they're 5 grades ahead. That means an 8th grader here is the equivalent of a 3rd grader in Singapore. That doesn't work. We've got to turn this ship around, focus on achievement in math, reading, writing, critical thinking, physical education, rather than woke indoctrination. I want to lead Ohio as the state that sets an example for the rest of the country, to show the rest of the country how we actually compete in the next generation. And we will by paying for performance.
Now, I'm intrigued to listen to Ramaswamy's ideas on this, because I think he has to flesh that out and has to tell us how it would work and how he would get around the issue of union contracts. What I would like to see, and I don't have this thought all the way through, and I know there'll be an immediate pushback to it, but I would like to see districts that are spending wisely rewarded for spending wisely by not having their portion of state funding cut. Now, you're going to say, well, if you've got a district like Columbus or Cincinnati or Dayton, which is underperforming, and then you cut their funding, you're going to grease the skids to them to perform even worse. I'm not sure that's true, because we've already demonstrated that there are many districts in Ohio that are overperforming, spending, in some cases, 50% less to educate students. So the folding of the Department of Education, if Trump is able to get that done, would give the Ohio Department of Education more control over the state of education in the state of Ohio. There has to be someone smarter than me who can figure out a way to make it hurt on districts where they are not performing based upon the amount of funding that they are getting. Maybe it's not an every year penalty, but maybe they're put on some kind of notice. Maybe they're monitored. Maybe the state comes in and takes a really hard look at what they're doing and why they're doing it. But something's got to change in this regard, because you can't just keep throwing money at underperforming districts, and then in the districts that are performing well, that are highlighted in green on this state auditor map, which you can find at ohioauditor.gov/performance, you're going to cut them too? Why? They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're making do with less, and they're educating students. Why would you want to cut their funding? That's stupid. Now, just so that I'm not accused of playing favorites in the governor's race, when I play a Vivek Ramaswamy cut about something that pertains to him running for governor, I'm going to play a Dave Yost cut. Here's Dave Yost on a program over the weekend with NBC4i with Colleen Marshall, talking about the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy has received the Trump endorsement, and Dave Yost is talking about the impact of that in his likely primary showdown against Vivek Ramaswamy.
Well, it helps my opponent, no doubt. The president has endorsed multiple people before, so I remain hopeful that I too can earn his support. He did endorse me in 2022 for re-election as Attorney General.
That is true, he did. Donald Trump endorsed Dave Yost. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him, but has Trump endorsed two guys in the same race before? Again, I wouldn't put it past him. Trump tends to, in some cases, wait until the last minute to endorse. And the thought is, at the very last minute, he endorsed Mike DeWine, right? Because he knew DeWine was going to win. And then Trump can say, well, look, of all the people that I endorsed, 96% of them won, blah, 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 blah. Trump has also endorsed people who have lost, most famously in that disastrous midterm Senate race where we had Adam Laxalt in Nevada, and we had Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania, and we had Herschel Walker in Georgia, and we had Doug Mastriano. Where was he? That was bad. Thankfully, America got its fill of Biden economic policies and Biden border policies and Biden international fecklessness and weakness. We now have a 53-47 majority in the Senate. But Trump has already come out and endorsed Ramaswamy. So has Elon Musk. And that's something Dave Yost will have to overcome if he is to defeat Ramaswamy in the primary.
Wesley Financial Group is not an offer. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited...
In all of this debate about whether transgender athletes should be able to compete. And last week, California Governor Gavin Newsom said that he thinks that trans athletes competing in girls and women's sports was deeply unfair. Now, I want to hear what you say, because I'll tell you what I think, too.
Yeah, the last time I played a sport, I was 6 years old, and I was on a soccer team, but I assigned myself as the nurse. So I sat with the Band-Aids. And so, in the words of Wicked, I am not that girl. But a dear friend of mine, Skylar, he is a trans athlete. His handle's Pink Manta Ray. That's someone who I really look to for guidance. And I think that is what's tricky, is like, now stepping in this identity. I'm still like a baby trans, I'm only 3 years in. Tomorrow's my anniversary.
Your friend went from female to male and is competing with other males.
Correct.
Yeah. Her friend. Her friend went from female to male and is competing with other males.
So Gavin doesn't have a problem with that.
I think part of the problem that the trans community is facing, and it's the same problem that women face, is if you don't know anything about our bodies, you don't know how it works. So when you come in and you say, these are men, competing against women, you're assuming that the women are weak and just can't do anything yourself. Have you seen female athletes? They know what they're doing. So I'm not sure what's going on or why this is an issue. The same for me as when people say, I don't know how I feel about you. You do. God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
And the challenge is not to the trans people, it's to the people who are not trans. That's what God is looking to see, how you treat people.
Yeah.
That's what is happening. So I was just curious as to what I liked your answer.
Thank you.
I liked your answer.
Yeah, her friend, it went from female to male and is competing with other males. Gavin doesn't.
Did not serve, and in some cases even harmed, the core national interests of the United States. Surviving programs are now being moved to the State Department.
Correspondent Ben Thomas also says that a federal judge has ruled against nonprofit groups and businesses that wanted their aid restored. However, the ruling says that the administration was obliged to pay groups who had already completed their work. On Wall Street, stocks have turned lower, the Dow dropping 449 points, the NASDAQ composite 37 points in the red. More at townhall.com.
Partly sunny and warm breeze for the afternoon. Elevated fire threat with a gusty wind and low humidity, high 67. Hardly cloudy for tonight, low 38. Clouds and sun. Breezy mild day tomorrow, the high at 65. For tomorrow night, it'll be partly cloudy, low 45. And then partly sunny Thursday, the high at 70. For Friday, clouds and some sun. It'll be a warm afternoon. High on Friday at 74. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Winter is here, and if your home's heating system is on its last leg, don't wait any longer to replace that tired old furnace. Get a brand new Goodman furnace from Temperature Pro for just $1,900 to get your shopping price. $3,800. Temperature Pro is a leader in both commercial and residential HVAC systems. And this was guaranteed to go quickly, so check out this great deal at 989theanswer.com.
With SRS Sports, I'm George Williams. The Lakers 111-108. Lakers had an 8-game winning streak after Boston. The second loss is also going to be more costly. LeBron James suffered a left groin injury in the fourth quarter of the game. The team doesn't know how long their legendary forward will be sidelined. Other action, Hawks beat the 76ers. The Celtics winning again, 114-108 over the Jazz. And the Hornets defeated the Heat. Raptors winners over the Wizards, 119-104. Those got the best of the Pacers, 121-103. Rockets down the Magic. In a close game, the Grizzlies prevailed over the Suns, 120-118. And the Nuggets over the Thunder, 140-127. Mavericks beat the Spurs, 133-129. The Warriors winners over the Trailblazers, 130-120. And the Knicks beat the Kings, 133-104. This is SRN Sports. NHL action today, the CC Warriors 3-2, Senators over the Red Wings 2-1. Avalanche shut out the Blackhawks 3-0, and it's the Maple Leafs over Utah 4-3. NCAA men's college basketball play, just one game among ranked teams. 21st ranked St. Mary's defeated Pepperdine 74-59. And then the coaches poll was out, and as expected, Auburn 2 losses last week. Caused them to fall in the poll. Duke is now number 1, Houston number 2. Auburn has now fallen into the number 3 ranked position. Then Florida is moving up to 4th. Crimson Tide is up to 5th place. Still in 6th. And Marquette, Michigan State, Tennessee, Texas Tech, and Clemson rounding out the top 10. New York's pitching staff in the baseball Yankees is going to be hurting. Garrett Cole out with Tommy John surgery, and their rookie of the year, Lewis Gill, is out also. This is SRN Sports. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
3 years ago, I wrapped up a run of Annie playing Daddy Warbucks at the South Carolina Children's Theater. I was about 40, 50 pounds overweight, tired, sick, fed up with the way I felt.
I got to end the stream. Hour number 2 streaming on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page and the 98.9 The Answer Facebook page. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.